Welcome back to another episode of Two Average Husbands. I am your host, Jake.
And I'm your host, Kyle. Welcome back, everybody. We're late because Jake is slow at playing Call of Duty, and it is his fault.
Hey, okay, listen. Warzone 2 came out today. Kyle wouldn't know because his computer decided not to download the game quickly.
Nope. Not my
but I
computer.
get to know
Battle.net
about
servers
it.
suck.
And so I was playing it, and that was my first dub. We had almost 20 kills, so I'll take it. So, Kyle, you can suck it.
All right, and on the second note of how Jake is bad at things, mustache contest update live.
Yeah, I
Jake
told
beat
you
me.
from the start. I told you I stood no chance.
Oh, man.
I said I'm going to grow one just to see what it looks like, but it's not going to be good.
Yes. Reminder to everybody, update from the last episode. It's my fault, so I'll take the blame on this one, that it took so long to get the tweet out there with the ratings of different foods that we did with our guest. Tony, so head over to Twitter to vote in that poll and look at how we ranked things and tell Jake that he sucks because last I checked he was in third place.
The polls already ended, and I lost. Tony won. You came in second. But come comment on the post and tell us
Yeah, do
how
that.
fucking stupid we are.
Yes,
Particularly me, apparently.
because Jake is bad at food.
I'm not bad at food.
Carly
have-
would disagree.
I have different choices.
All right, Jake, what are you drinking this week?
I'm
back
going
on
to
track.
start off with, this is Maplewood Brewing's Crispy Cakes, which is a pastry case ale. Don't know what a case ale is, but it's a pastry version of it.
All right, well, since you're doing a pastry, I will do a pastry of sorts. I'm doing Epidemic Ales
Ooh,
pineapple upside down cake.
it sounds pretty good.
It's a hazy, which means I'm probably not going to like it.
It's not going to taste like pineapple upside down cake.
And
Sad.
it's also probably not going to taste like pineapple upside down cake. But I like the label, and it sounded good. Big pineapple fan.
That's 90% of the reasons why I choose most of the beers that I choose.
Unfortunately, like I said, I probably won't like this. I think IPAs are like the trendy thing, right? Like everybody hits that phase where they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna have an IPA," and like 10% of the people that try IPAs actually like continue to drink IPAs after
Right.
that like month-long phase that you go through.
I never really, I shouldn't say I never went through a phase with them. I definitely have had times in my life where I've liked them more, but I'll also just randomly have days where it's like, I'm just going to drink IPAs today. And like, that's the choice I make.
Couldn't be me.
Well,
I fucking
Usually
I
isn't
don't like
me.
them. I don't like.
why buy
I
it?
don't like them. I usually don't, but I like the label and I like pineapple. I wanted to try it.
I respect it. But I believe you go first this week, Mr. Kyle.
That could be true. I won't confirm or deny it, but I will allow it
I respect it.
because I never know if that's true or not.
I would have fact checked my ass, but I'm glad that you didn't.
Yeah, I'll just tell you it's your turn every other time. So you got to me first.
I can go first. I've got my topics ready to roar.
No, I've got mine too. I will say that I was sick all of the weekend, so I'm still a little congested and sound probably a little goofy. And
I
hate
live in
being
Illinois,
sick.
so I always sound congested and goofy, so you're good.
Yeah, that's probably true. I think I did have a lot more sickness problems when I lived in the Midwest, although I know that doesn't matter. Like having cold temperatures does not equal sickness. There's no science there. That being said, I feel like I got sick a lot more in Iowa. Maybe people are just more gross in the Midwest.
It's more a combination of more gross in the Midwest, and also it might just be like what you're allergic to and how your body
This isn't
reacts to it.
allergies. I think I had a sinus infection. I might still have a sinus infection.
I heard you. I know you were sick, and I heard you on the upswing. So
Yeah.
and you still.
I think I'm
sounded-
still kind of on the upswing because, man, like I was down definitely for like 2 or 3 days. Where I'm a huge baby about being sick. There's no
Same.
doubt about it.
We've
Carly
talked
will
about
confirm
that
it. I'm
on
a
here
baby.
many times.
That being said, I was pretty sick. I took a lot of NyQuil to go to sleep.
That's
All right.
That's what you got to do.
I missed out on a lot of fun things because I was sick. So I had a chance to revisit one of those things because I had a friend hook us up with some awesome seats to something. So I've decided to expand this topic into a few different things. So if you want to take notes, be prepared because I have multiple things that you need to answer.
Okay, let me pull up Word.
Let me know when you're ready.
All right, go for it.
Okay. So I want to know what is the best professional sports atmosphere you've ever witnessed or like been a part of, right? I'm talking atmospherics only.
Okay.
Fantasy atmosphere. And what I mean by that is like something that's been replicated from like a book or a movie, some sort of a party, anything that was reproducing some sort of like a fantasy world. But the best experience you've had with that type of an atmosphere, the best work atmosphere you've ever been a part of, and the best living place atmosphere wise that you've ever been or lived in. Which for you is going to be limited.
I was going to say.
You mean to have physically lived in that place.
But were we talking for like a week?
No. Like you were established, you had an address there.
Okay. All right, let's start off with the sports one. It's hard.
I'll go. AT&T Stadium.
Yep.
And it's easy for me because I'm a Dallas fan, right? Like I am a Dallas Cowboys fan. There's no doubt about it. So when I go to AT&T Stadium, I get sucked into the atmosphere of that building. Not only is the stadium incredible, but I like to watch the Cowboys and be a part of that and feel the crowd noise and everything that goes along with that. So that is the best atmosphere that I've ever been to because of my relation to the team. That being said, I don't like the NBA, but I do have to give some credit to the fact that I went to a Kings game last night, and the Kings apparently are a pretty bad basketball team regularly, and I have no idea. But anyway,
take your word for it. Don't watch Don't watch the sport at all.
Me neither. So. And they went from a 500 record to like a winning record for the first time in the season.
Nice.
Last night while I was there, and they just totally smoked the Nets. So they could have won by 40, and then they just kind of slowed down at the end of the game. So they won by like 30 points. But it was pretty fucking fun. Like the atmosphere was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. So it was pretty cool to be a part of that. And thanks to my friend Riley for the hookup there. But AT&T still wins out. Busch Stadium is a close second, I think, because I used to be a huge Cardinals fan. I don't watch baseball nearly as much as I used to, but AT&T is mine.
Okay, so I thought you were talking like trying to get me to name a specific like
I'm talking
date
atmosphere.
or time. For me then that's super easy, and it's Wrigley Field. Nothing beats Wrigley Field to me. But I have a caveat on that. If I could pick one event or one place to be, it'd be the Waste Management Open.
Yeah.
And I want to sit on 17.
Yeah.
Or is it 16?
I think it's 16.
I want to be there like when they hit the hole in one and everybody's just yucking Mick Ultra cans onto the course.
Yeah.
I want to be part of that. But
have you been?
I haven't, no.
I have.
I know.
And I don't give a shit about golf. And I could get fired up at that place.
It's sick.
Let me say though, you are right. That is an atmosphere experience truly, because you could hate the sport, right, and still go there and have a good time. And the thing to know about if you're going to ever try to do the Waste Management Open, which is in Phoenix, Arizona, you need to go there with the intention of making that a multi-day event. You can't just...
Oh, yeah. No, I'd go...
If I went... go, stop for a few hours and leave. It doesn't work like that. Like, you have to dedicate time. It's like being at a fucking festival. Like, you need to be there and experience that place, because there's a lot of shit going on.
I want to get, like, 5 or 6 people, and I want to make it, like, a festival. Like, I want to go back. I want to go Thursday through Sunday. I want an Airbnb.
Yeah, I'd go back. I
want to black out every day by the 12th hole.
Yeah, dude. And my biggest mistake, and I had a lot of fun there, and I had a lot more opportunity to go there and chose not to. And then COVID ruined a couple times that we were thinking about it. I was gone for work one time and I couldn't. Yeah, I missed out on a lot of opportunity to go there. But I would definitely go back, because the only time I did go, I made the mistake of showing up on like a Friday or a Saturday, maybe. It doesn't, one of the two, right? I go in, I'm like, why am I here? I don't give a fuck about golf. And then it took me a few hours to warm up to like the idea of it, right? Well, I walk in, like, and you start to see like how like large scale this event truly is. And then I like halfway through the day, I was like, yeah, this is pretty legit. I started drinking a little bit more, and then all of a sudden it's like everything starts slowing down, and I'm like, God damn it! Like, I was just getting into this, and then I had to leave because I had no intention of making that a multi-day thing. So
right,
I'd go back and do it the right way.
Yeah. That's sick. Uncle Kyle says Old Chicago Stadium. I'm assuming by that he means
football?
Comiskey Park, if I had to guess. But I'm not 100% on that. Next up for me, so the next one you said was like a fantasy experience that you...
Yes. Mm-hmm. I can go first again. I'm ready.
You might have to.
All right.
What's the next one
Universal
after this, though,
Studios.
so I can...
The next one after this is work.
Okay, that one's easy.
Universal Studios, The Wizarding World of Harry Potter, is an unbeatable experience if you are a Harry Potter fan. And I grew up a huge Harry Potter fucking fan. And so I walked into that, and Carly like filmed me walking into like Diagon Alley, which is the first place you kind of like walk into. Because there's like a little bit of like scattered like things about the Wizarding World, like or whatever. Like I think the night bus was outside of like the actual like main location that they have, and like stuff like that. Like there's a couple like standalones, but the first true experience you get into that is like walking into Diagon Alley, and I'm walking up, and I just was like literally like jaw drops, like fucking like heavy breathe kind of a thing. And so that was like one of the coolest atmospheres I've ever been a part of. And shout out to Carly for taking me out there.
Yeah, that's sick. I've never been. I want to go. For me, this is gonna be the dumbest fucking answer I can give, but I don't care. The fucking Men in Black ride, also at Universal, where you're like in the ship and you're shooting the aliens.
Yeah, that's a good
That's
one.
the single most fun that I've ever had at an
It's a
amusement
good one,
park.
yeah.
It's so competitive too. Like everybody in your carts are like trying to be the winner.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Uncle
And
Kyle might remember the name of this place, and Carly might remember the name of this place too. I can't remember what it was called, but there was like an event center or like an activity center. I don't know what you would even call it. And I think it was in Cedar Rapids, but it might have been in Des Moines, Iowa, where you'd go and they had Men in Black laser tag. And it was like the
sick.
coolest fucking thing as a kid,
Yeah.
because my parents took us down there and we did that. And it was like, you felt like you were like in that scene in Men in Black when they're like shooting the aliens, you know, and they're doing like the marksman testing or whatever the fuck. I think that's what they're doing, right? They're like
Yeah,
making
I
sure
think
people can
so.
shoot well or whatever. It's one of the challenges when he's like trying out for the Men in Black. That was really fucking cool, and it's a similar experience to that, you know, like the doing the ride.
Yeah. So when you say work experience, like a singular
Atmosphere.
work event,
Atmosphere.
work atmosphere.
What was the best atmosphere that you worked in? Where was that? What company? What place? What location specifically? It doesn't matter. Just I'm talking atmospheres.
For me, it was probably the Sprint store that I worked at. We were just when I first like for the first like 6 months that I worked there, we were all just like really good friends. We'd hang out after work, we'd go get lunch together, and it was super cool because we were close to like Main Event, which if you're not familiar, it's kind of like a more upscale Dave and Buster's.
Okay.
So it's got like bowling, it's got laser tag, it's got all that stuff. So we would go do that all the time, and just like generally speaking, like just at the beginning, the best group of people that I worked with. My cop out answer to that was almost right here because I sit in this chair and work most days, and my
That's
room's
an
pretty
acceptable
sick.
answer.
Like
I
I
would
can
accept
work
that answer.
out.
Like,
I don't
working
have to
from home
leave the
stuff,
room. I've rearranged the room a little bit over the past day. Don't know how I feel about it. May get rearranged back. Trying to make the space a little more functional.
I've had 0 opportunities to work from home, and I cannot comment on that, how awesome the atmosphere is, but I can imagine it probably is.
It's pretty sick. Like you get your dogs all day.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask somebody. Like you don't have to do that awkward walk to the bathroom 6 times a day because you drink too much water.
I don't have that problem.
I had that job at my last job before this one. When I worked at the college, one of the colleges, I drink a gallon of water a day. I piss
Yeah.
like 20 times a day, and most of those are at work because I try and like taper my drinking off before I go to bed so I don't wake up and piss 10 times in the middle of the
Yeah.
night. And so I'd literally like stand up, go to the bathroom, come back. 30 minutes later, stand up, go to the bathroom, come back. And that's awkward. It's really awkward. And actually the most awkward part is when you have to take a shit, and it's not one of those easy shits that you have where it's like boom in and out. No, you have one of those like 15-minute, 20-minute shits. You're just scrolling through TikTok, not really in any hurry to get up. You have one of those every once in a while, but when you have one of those in the office or at the store that you're working at or whatever, everybody's like, "You okay?"
Dude, I'm going to tell you a story, and maybe I shouldn't admit this, but like in my brain, right? Like, so I think there was always a like discomfort with pooping in public, right? And I think a lot of people probably have that same vibe, right? Like you just don't like to shit in public. It's just, you know, you're in a vulnerable state. You want to
It's
shit
not
at your
the
own
vibe.
house, right? Okay, so my peak level of not giving a fuck about shitting in public anymore happened to align with the worst possible place to be willing to shit in public. And that was at my last job that I had before where I'm working right now. And, or in Arizona at least, my office was like the smallest office. It was like basically the size of my garage. It was a tiny fucking building.
Yeah.
And dead fucking in the middle of that building is the shitter, and it's a single shitter. And there is absolutely zero ventilation in this building.
Oh, that's tough.
And so, like, if anybody's shitting there and open the fucking door, everybody's smelling it for as long as that fucking stench lasts. And I just didn't give a fuck. I truly didn't give a fuck anymore. I was like, if I got to shit, I'm fucking taking a shit. And so I would poop in that tiny ass little trailer building. And I wasn't the only one, right? Like, I think most people in there didn't really give a fuck. There's one dude, he'd walk around and he's like, anybody need to use the bathroom? Like, every time he'd have to take a shit. And I'm like, dude, please stop doing that. Like, don't even give me the heads up.
I respect it, though.
I do too, but I don't know. It was uncomfortable. Anyway, that was the word. Anyway, that was totally a tangent. It didn't matter at all to the story, but those things aligned perfectly, man. Perfect, I don't give a fuck. Worst place to do it. And I started shooting in public. Now I just don't give a fuck still.
Last up, somewhere we lived.
Hold on, I gotta do my work one first. Because I was just telling you a story.
Yeah, my bad.
My best work atmosphere. And this is interesting because I think the older I get, the worse the atmospheres get. And I mean that very seriously. Like, I think, and it's no, like, discredit to the people I work with or the jobs. I think it might just be a product of, like, you get older and you realize that the work is the work now and it's not, like, the social thing. You know what I mean? Like, I have to go work to keep myself alive. I'm not going to work to, like, have spare cash, or, like, I'm going to work to, like, have something to do while I'm going through college and, like, help me pay my tuition.
Right.
It's like I have to work to live now. And I think that changes the mentality that goes into working, which I think is like a perfect line of disconnect where, like, almost every job that I look back on that was like pre-college graduation was a pretty fucking good vibe.
Yeah.
Like a pretty good atmosphere.
Agree.
And I think it's because of what I was just talking about, where, like, the reason you're working isn't the same. And, like, you just make friends and, like, have a good time and, like, you go out together or whatever. And that changes over time. But anyway, I think probably the best atmosphere I had was the water park that I worked at, which was Lost Island Water Park. I'll name them because that place is dope, and it's in Waterloo, Iowa, if you want to go. It's like the second best water park in the world, or in the United States. But I think that's like a biased poll. No offense to the water park. And, like, the number one is like Wisconsin or something like that, which it's funny that they're both in, like, the Midwest.
Yep.
But anyway, it was a great place. I worked outside. My boss was dope. The people that worked there were dope. I just would, like, hang out. In my job responsibility, truly my responsibility was pretty low. I was a lifeguard, but, like, so it should be kind of high, but, like, most of the water there is like 3 feet or less, right? So like my job itself was not difficult. I just needed to pay attention, hang out, and have a good time. So that was a really good atmosphere there. But I've had plenty. Like, a lot of my college jobs are great.
I'm going to change my answer, actually, to the first college that I worked at. That was actually the most fun. After I rethought about everything, that group of people, like, I was an adult, but they were legitimately friends. Like, we still all talk to this day. We've all gone off different directions for the most part, but, like, we golf together. We go out together. We're planning, like, a team dinner now that it's been like a year or two since we've really all seen each other. That's actually my number one. I'm changing that answer. The first college that I worked at, Lewis University. I'll name them. I don't care. It was a great place. The people that I worked with, my team, was awesome. Last up is where we lived.
Yep.
And
this is easy for you. Should be easy for you. You lived in like 3 places.
I know, but each of them have, like, everywhere I've lived has a really, like, a big plus and then a big negative.
Okay.
So it's hard. I'm going to go with, I think the best possible answer is where I live now, my current house. We're in a spot where, like, our neighborhood's not, like, we're not in some super rich neighborhood with, like, everybody around us isn't, like, the greatest neighbors in the world, like, making it great, but, like, we're really central to everywhere that we want to be, everywhere that we want to go. Like, my parents' house is 10 minutes, 15 minutes away. Jess's mom and siblings live in our neighborhood. Like, our favorite breweries are 5 minutes from here. The bottle shop that we like to go to is 15, 20 minutes from here. Everywhere we grew up going is 25, 30 minutes away from here. So that's all awesome. But it's also, like, our first space where it's like, we lived on our own and we really could do whatever we want because it's something that we own.
Yeah, that changes it for sure.
Because, like, living at Lewis was great. We didn't pay anything to live there. It was probably pretty close to the same size.
Cinder block building.
Yeah, like, the cinder blocks obviously sucked, but besides that, like,
that's for sure.
It was free.
Yeah.
It was a big space. Like, it was probably the same square footage as our house. Like, it was a huge apartment.
Yeah. Not that I had actually gone inside.
There were shit. You didn't. You could have, but you didn't.
I didn't. That's true.
But Besides that, it was pretty shitty. Like we had one apartment that we really liked, but we couldn't have dogs there, which sucked for us at the time. And it was just like it was a house that got turned into 4 apartments. So we were like the top apartment, which was cool, and it was fully redone before we moved in, and everything was nice and pretty in there. But it still had its drawbacks, obviously. So those are like the 2 close ones. But this house is probably number 1 so far. Keyword so far.
If my family didn't live there and I didn't meet my wife there, I would think that the Midwest was probably the worst place on the planet. That's probably an exaggeration, but I fucking hate the cold. And so as soon as you insert like ice cold feet of snow, freezing,
Yeah, it was snowing
winds,
today and
the
yesterday.
atmosphere is already just a dog shit place to me.
But it's
So I was never going to be it for me.
here's the thing though: if you move somewhere where the weather's nice all the time, you never get the joy of going on a vacation to better weather.
I agree with you about certain aspects of that statement. And I think that you need to be specific in the way that you say it. It's not if the weather's nice, it's if it's like a touristy style destination for me. Like I lived in Florida, right? And Florida ruined like the ocean vacation like mentality for me.
Yeah.
Because you live near it and you start to lose respect for that as a tourist destination or like a vacation thing. And that does start to suck. And I think I've overcome that now, but like it's the same thing with when I lived in Arizona in the mountains. Like you start to have less appreciation for what the mountains provide when you live right next to them. And so I will agree with you in that my current situation is probably the best atmosphere that we've lived in because
Agreed.
we love our house. We love the area. We love what's around. There's shitloads of things to do, but we're also like, everything's a little bit of a drive, but it's not like where we were like packed in and like the driving sucked in Tucson. Here is a lot better. It's like a little bit more open. You feel like you have a little bit of room to breathe. It still has somewhat of a small town vibe.
It felt like I was in the Midwest, just also kind of in the desert.
And the weather's better. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so like, is it kind of cold here? Yes. Now, but Jake would make fun of me for saying that because it's
Kyle
actually
said
like
that
60
shit
degrees.
earlier. It was 63 degrees or something like that.
freezing.
And I'm like, Kyle, it's 30 and it's snowing. It literally, it snowed here today. I don't
Yeah.
want to hear about Kyle being cold in California.
It was cold. It was
Suck
cold
my
today.
ass.
It really was. And I am truly a baby about the cold now too because I lived in the desert for a while and you start to get used to being 100 degrees all the time.
Yeah.
But the atmosphere in Tucson was not it. Like I enjoyed my time there, no doubt about it. And I think if you lived on like the west side of the city and you were like a college student, the atmosphere would be like
Oh yeah,
pretty
I could
good.
see that
Pretty-
being
pretty
awesome.
solid.
Yeah.
But as an adult working, living on the other side of town, it wasn't it.
Yeah. I can
So,
see
yeah.
that. It was a fun place to visit, and it could have been better if it wasn't still like COVID-y times and we could have gone
Yeah,
to Phoenix.
100%.
and-
I wish you guys
gone-
could have come not in fucking COVID.
That's fine. We'll have to go to Phoenix anyway for the waste management.
That's
sometime.
true. Yeah.
So we'll make
We'll
it.
do
We'll make it work. But yeah, that's
We
it.
could probably think of a bunch of different reasons to talk about atmospheres, but I thought of those 4 right off the top of my head. So that's
Yeah,
what we
I
got.
like it. No,
That's my
that was a good topic.
All right, what do you
Nice.
got? What's up?
All right. So this is all over my TikTok. So I'm going to continue to steal content from TikTok because I can. So I'm gonna give you something, and you're gonna tell me if it's overrated, underrated, or perfectly rated.
Okay.
We're gonna start off with number 1, pizza.
Okay, so when you say overrated, underrated, or perfectly rated, do I just mean like the general population, what I
Yes,
think that they
general.
think?
Yeah, general consensus based off of what you think general consensus is on that topic. Do you think that's perfectly rated, underrated, or
Okay.
overrated?
Probably. Pizza's probably pretty well rated, if I had to
agree.
be honest. I think most people would agree that pizza's
Yeah.
fucking solid.
I agree with you there. Next up, avocados.
Overrated. Hugely overrated. Avocados taste like dirt. And I know I'm unique in that like sentiment, but I actually came around a little bit. My brother made guacamole when I was home for my other brother's wedding, and usually I wouldn't even try it because I fucking don't like avocado, but I tried it and I was like, no, it's fine. And then there was some avocado in my food at the restaurant the other night, and I took like one bite of it. And I was like, oh, fine, okay. But like people drool over that shit, and yeah, overrated.
I like it a lot. It's definitely overrated. So I'm with you there. Next up, this one may hit a little close to home based off the past couple of days.
Yeah,
Taylor
right.
Swift.
Overrated. Big,
I think
big time.
I think T Swift is accurately rated.
I'm sure you do. You're a Taylor Swift fan though, and I am not. And it has nothing to do with Taylor Swift as a person. But Carly likes to accuse me sometimes of like hating Taylor Swift the person, and I don't. I don't know anything about Taylor Swift the person. Taylor Swift can do whatever the fuck she wants, but her music burns my ears a little bit. And the fact that she released 10-minute versions of her songs makes my ears like hurt real bad.
The 10-minute versions go hard.
I'm sure that you think so, and Carly does too. She found a different variation of the 10-minute song and was gonna play that back to back with the 10-minute one the other night, and I like shut the radio off. I can't fucking do it.
You're
I cannot do it.
I'll sit in silence.
Overrated.
Right, whatever. Next up, beer.
I think we're probably in a state of overrating right now. Personally, I think the rise of like the microbrewery and like the way that like beer is treated like some posh thing now probably puts it in slightly overrated category. Yeah, I don't have much else to say about that. That's true. I don't have an emotional connection to lyrics most of the time. That is true.
Oh, I do. I cry at songs like every other day, but I'm also a baby.
I think I pick up on like the vibe of a song
Yeah.
without ever listening to the lyrics. So like if a sad song plays, I'm like, yeah, okay, it's a sad song, right? Like I can understand that it's a sad song.
You can
It's
tell
not
the
like
tempo
I miss
and-
the emotion,
yeah.
but I just don't connect with songs like that usually.
For me, I think beer is underrated. And I think there are a lot of people who just flat out say like they don't like the category of beer. And
I
then
just don't
there's
hear that much, I guess.
I do. I hear it all the time, and just flat out like there's a beer for you. I promise you, there is a beer that you will enjoy.
Yeah,
like
probably.
it's almost impossible not to find one at this point. So for me, it's underrated. Next up, cheeseburgers.
Probably relatively accurately rated.
I agree.
Yeah.
That one's a little tougher. I almost think they're underrated, but anyways.
American classic.
Next up, New Year's Eve.
Overrated.
100%. Thank you.
Big time, yeah.
Jess always says it's her favorite holiday, and I'm like, why? Because you get drunk for a day? I can do that. I can do it tonight if I want.
Well, to be fair, that's any holiday for us,
Yeah.
right? Like, what do you do on Thanksgiving? I eat some food and then I get drunk. What do you do on Christmas? I open a present and then I get drunk. Like,
Yeah.
it's the holidays. That being said, though, New Year's Eve, it's not like it can't be fun.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just celebrating the calendar rolling over is a little bit strange when you think about it. You know, I guess you're living another year, and if you're like living in the moment, that's one way to think about it. But overall, I
Yeah.
think the holiday's probably a little overrated.
I agree with you there. Social media.
Overrated. Yeah,
Agreed.
big time. Probably don't need to explain that one. Maybe I do. You can tell me in the comments if I do.
I'm trying to think of some of these are good, some of these aren't. So I'm trying to
Blue
skip
check marks
some
on
of
Twitter.
them. Now they're overrated. He says that because I have one.
He does, yeah. Yeah, he does. It's overrated for sure.
It's
gotten-
yeah.
Grumpy about it recently. Just
You
because
just got-
I appreciate anybody's desire to want that for themselves. Like, if you're willing to do it, man, do it. But as soon as you start trying to, like, guilt people about
Yeah.
shit on Twitter and being like, shut the fuck up. Go away.
Yeah. Bubble wrap. Specifically the popping of bubble wrap.
Ooh, no, that's accurately rated. I think people really enjoy that experience.
I almost think it's a little underrated.
I don't know, man. I think anybody that I've ever been around that's popping bubble wrap appreciates it. Maybe like the disgruntled parent who has like had
Yeah.
the kids popping it around. Maybe they don't. Maybe they like hate it and they're not rating it properly. But I think most people agree.
Next up, a home cooked meal. You always hear people ranting and raving about finally getting a home cooked meal.
Yeah. It's funny because when you say it, right? Like when you say a home cooked meal, like the thought that goes into my brain is like it's a great thing. You know?
Yeah.
Like I think that's like it gives you a sense of like that feeling of home and like whatever. You're like there's a connotation with that word that makes you think that it's a good thing. That being said, Carly and I both hate cooking. So it's a little tough. Like my mom doesn't like cooking, my dad doesn't like cooking, right? Like so if I think of like
Yeah.
my family cooking, I don't think of like, oh great, I'm gonna go and have a home cooked meal. I'd rather go to a restaurant, probably.
Same.
So it's probably a little overrated. That being said, though, if you have like a family that like is full of great cooks, I could totally understand why that would be underrated to you.
Yeah. For me, it's overrated, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty comfortable saying that. Like, I've had really great meals at home.
Same.
I don't remember them.
I
but I can
take
tell you-
comfort into like some things that like probably people, take for granted. Like, I like homemade spaghetti and like vegetable soup, like stupid things like my grandma
Yeah.
made or like my mom made. Like I still
Yeah, you have,
appreciate
like,
those
some of
as a
that
home-cooked meal.
nostalgia.
Yeah, but it's not like I'm like craving a home cooked meal from my mother. No offense to my mother, she's the best person ever, but not a huge cook, right?
I
not
do
my family.
crave some of the things that my mom made because my mom cooked us dinner pretty much every night. My dad,
My mom didn't.
we'd get my dad grilling out burgers or brats or steaks on the weekend every once in a while, but that was
I don't
pretty much
remember
it. Next up, charcuterie boards.
Okay. Okay, this is a tougher one because I think the general consensus of the population is probably a little bit overrating. People will pay a lot of money for like a pretty simple charcuterie board. But Carly took me to a place in Tucson where I think it was a little posh maybe, but the food was actually pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
And Carly, I know she would argue that it's like it was so worth the money and everything like that because they were a little overpriced in my opinion too. So probably overrated, I guess I'd still go with. But I do appreciate like the goodness that comes with that. But people have found a way to really upsell that market
Yeah.
and like hype it up a ton so that they can charge a shitload of money for it, which is why I think it's probably a little too overrated.
I definitely get that. I personally think they're accurately rated.
Yeah.
It's just like a lot of the stuff you're not going to like go out of your way to get. Like,
I get it. I do. I really do get it. I think
it's a great
I just don't think they
drinking
should be that
snack.
expensive.
I agree. I do agree with you there. I will admit on that. Just a couple more here. The Office,
The show?
the show.
Yeah, okay. I think you could probably generalize this one too to like the famous sitcoms, right? Like you can throw Friends in the same basket or like How I Met Your Mother.
I don't think you can because I have very strong opinions on all of those.
I'm sure you do, but your
Friends
opinion
is the most overrated show of all time.
But I think there are probably plenty of people in the population that would say that about The Office. Is my point.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I think popular sitcoms like they're very divisive where you either think that it's yes, Carly, I am talking about bruschetta board, but I think it's like the same thing in my brain. I don't know. I know they're not. It's all the same to me.
You gotta
Fancy
try a
posh food.
snackle box one of these days.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
So, to make a long story short, somebody wanted to bring a charcuterie board to the beach, but didn't have a good way to do it, so they put it in a tackle box. And so somebody was like, "Have you tried a portable charcuterie board?" And then somebody like replied to the picture that they post on Facebook and was like, "We call that a snackle box."
Huh, that's pretty good.
I was like, "That's clever."
Yeah. Anyway, The Office is, to me, even though I'm a fan of the show, overrated. Because
agree.
I think I connect with the show and I think it's hilarious. But it's the same thing with anything that has like a laugh track or like anything like that, where like some of the moments that like they make really funny or like they're pretty good at selling you that it's funny might not be that fucking funny in context. So like, I don't know, dude. Like,
Well, that's why
I love
like,
the storyline of the show. I like the characters, and it still is funny to me. But I understand like it's been way too overhyped.
That's why I like The Office because there's not a laugh track. I've always contended
true.
if you watch Friends without a laugh track, you wouldn't know when to laugh.
Which is a popular opinion, right? Like people talk about that a lot on Twitter with a lot of the major sitcoms and stuff like that. But I think Friends is a good show too. Like I think the tale of the show is good. How I Met Your Mother, something similar. I used to make fun of my friends all the time for watching that show. I was like, why the fuck are you watching a show that's like set in a bar the whole time? It's like fucking Cheers, right? Like, is it a good show? I don't know, man. It's probably a little overhyped, but like the storyline's still good. So
Yeah.
they're probably all overrated, to be honest.
Probably fair. All right, last up for me, iPhones.
I think they are accurately rated, but I think the release of a new one is overrated.
I'll agree. I'll agree with you there.
Because I think every iPhone essentially offers you the same thing. Are there slight upgrades every time they release one? Yes. And when I say slight, I fucking mean it. Because you're getting maybe a slightly better camera. And the best thing is probably most of the people that are going to go purchase that phone for the camera are not going to take pictures with that regularly. Maybe some influencers or some shit do. I don't fucking know, man. And like maybe there are plenty of people that do. But I think in general, my iPhone 11 is the same as my wife's iPhone 14.
Yeah.
I think they are the same fucking thing. And
Yeah.
so, the technology itself doesn't change that much from version to version, and I think that's been proven, and I think that's why iPhone like sales have gone down quite a bit as they've released variations of the phone. That being said, the technology is good, and I love iPhones, and you can't beat that fucking iPhone like blue iMessage.
Exactly. iMessage underrated.
Which yeah, and doing it like having that available on Wi-Fi is great too, because and they might have something like that for Android now too. Somebody could correct me if I'm wrong.
It's called WhatsApp.
No, I mean not a dedicated app. I'm talking about like built-in software.
Carly's coming from the top rope.
That's not because of the quality of the photo. It's because she like had her phone out and she was taking pictures. I just didn't feel like taking mine out because like KD was on the fucking court like shooting, and I was like, get a boomerang of KD shooting that ball for me, because like it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, right? Like how many people
Not really. I mean,
that are non-basketball fans are going to go see Kevin Durant play basketball?
a lot.
That are non-basketball fans, probably not. But he's one of the greatest basketball players of all time, probably on a board somewhere. And so I got to go see that live. It was pretty cool.
I almost went and saw Steph Curry play because I was in fucking Charlotte and the tickets were $7.
I got to see off-brand Steph Curry last night. Seth
Curry. I was like his brother.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Yeah, and it is better. And I just said that. Carly said you literally said your phone has a better camera, which I think she's probably arguing is the reason why I actually told her to take the pictures. Maybe I did say that. I don't know. But it is a better camera. And I think that is a valid point. But I'm saying, like, largely that phone is the same as your last phone. The thing that you got was a slight upgraded camera, and you paid $1,000 for it. That's my point. You know, so
to be fair, we get slight upgrades to our computer parts when we spend a lot of money on them.
100%. Are they overrated? Yeah, they are. They absolutely are, right? Like,
But
you know
they're
what I mean?
worth it.
They do great marketing, you know? That, and like I think the industry as a whole, when it comes to those things, like they do a really good job of marketing to you that like the newest thing is great, right? Like it's not even, and it's funny too when it comes to computer parts and probably iPhone things too, is they make it very technical and they try to sell you on like the CUDA cores are going up. I'm like, I don't know what a fucking CUDA core is.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
But you tell me that and I get excited about it, right? Like they do a really good job.
I'm like,
of
they doubled
advertising.
it. Something
I get
doubled.
double the CUDA cores. I'm like, fucking sick, bro.
Let me get them cores, baby.
CUDA core is.
Yeah, I
This
know.
PC cooler is gonna lower your PC 5 degrees. I'm like, does it need to be lowered 5 degrees?
Yeah.
Probably not, but you're telling me it will. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just they do a great job of advertising. So, anyway, the long story short of all of this ranting is that it's overrated.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyways, that's my topic. How's your first beer?
It's not good. It's an IPA. It has a sweet taste to it. It doesn't taste anything like pineapple or cake. Yeah, not great.
Uncle Kyle says he'll buy the outdated parts now that he's building a PC.
Oh, that's a good point, Uncle Kyle. Let me know. I have a PC cooler you might want. A CPU cooler.
He doesn't have. He's using a stock cooler right now. So
I could probably send you that one. I'd have to make sure I have all the parts to it and I didn't zombie it up too much.
my first beer tasted like if you imagine if you mixed a Rice Krispie treat with like a Miller High Life.
Is that
Like,
a
it
good
was-
thing or a bad thing?
Yes, it was like a light beer but kind of sweet, so it was like kind of desserty.
That
It was
sounds
pretty good.
fucking gross when
No,
you
it was pretty
describe it that
good.
way.
It was good though. I liked it. I thought it was tasty.
That makes me want to try it for sure.
375.
375. Okay, this one's a 1.0. I don't like
It's a little
IPAs,
bit better
man.
than I was expecting. If I'm being
It's not. I
honest.
mean, it's not trash, right? Like it's drinkable. I'm gonna finish it. Not great. Hopefully, my next one's better, and I think it will be.
I'm actually
Go
going to switch beers, so you announce your next beer.
I gotta
first.
finish mine first.
Okay,
keep
well,
talking.
Give me 3 seconds.
talking.
Okay, actually, I can just do this. So I'm going to go over to my beer fridge now.
I said keep talking. He just completely abandons his microphone. That's okay, Jake. It's
It
okay, I
doesn't spin
appreciate
far enough, and I don't feel like shouting. Next up for me, I'm going to switch to Energy City Brewing's Pineapple Coconut Cream Pie.
you. Cream pie, you say?
Yes, sir. Pause. Yes, it is a Berliner style Weiss beer, which contains real fruit. So I actually have to
Oh yeah. Shake it up a little bit.
give a little twisty twist.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna be drinking Portland Cider Co.'s Tangerine Dreamsicle.
Ooh.
Juicy tangerines and Northwest apples mingle with pure, creamy vanilla. Vanilla's not creamy, so I think it's weird to describe pure vanilla as creamy. But that's okay. Either way, can looks like this. The one thing
sounds
that's intimidating about this is that it's
delicious.
a 20-ounce can. So
Respect.
that kind of blows. But it does look good, so I'm excited about it.
It
Probably a lot
sounds
better than
good.
the last one.
I'm a sucker for anything like creamsicle-y. So
Me too. Speaking of the devil, unrelated but related. Did you like Push Pops as a kid?
loved them.
Have you had one as an adult?
They're not good.
They're not good.
They're not good.
They're not good.
I almost had nostalgic items as one of the things I wanted to talk about for the overrated, underrated, or perfectly rated, and
Yeah.
I was gonna say they were wildly overrated.
Well, the sad thing is I think like a lot of nostalgia belongs as nostalgia. You know, you just got to think about it, think back on it, and think about how amazing it was. Like Jugs.
Yeah,
That's what they were called, right? The Jugs juice.
hugs
Hugs. God damn it. I do that every time. So like,
every time.
well, I think when I grew up, I think my mom bought the off brand.
Yeah, there were different brands of them,
I don't think I ever had like Hugs.
but that was the
just try to guess.
Hugs is like the cheap Walmart brand.
Maybe that's what we had, dude. I have a terrible memory. Truly, I do.
But also like there's so many things that like they have a name, but growing up you never called them that. Like everybody, like I call them freezer sticks. Some people call them Otter Pops. Some people
Yeah.
call them God knows what. Like those have a million different names, and half of them are just made up. Uncle Kyle says
Okay.
they're still good at 40.
They're not good. They're really not
I don't.
good. Uncle
I
Kyle.
don't mind them, but I used to be able to like slam those as a kid, and now I got like 2 in me, and I'm like I'm
Dude, no,
tapping out.
I had one in like it is like the most manufactured taste that you
But
could
yeah, it's
ever
It's zero sugar. They're artificially
They're
flavored.
gross.
Yeah,
But I don't know, dude. Some nostalgia belongs as nostalgia, that's for sure.
agreed. All right, what's your second topic?
So I don't like a lot of the topics that I have on my list. I don't. I really don't. I think some of them are good, some of them are not. Some of them will have to just fit a certain mood. So this is what I'm going to talk about. This is our last podcast before Thanksgiving.
It is.
So Jake, talk to me about your Thanksgiving traditions. That'll be part of it. And then talk to me about your Thanksgiving plans, and I will do the same for you.
Nice and simple. I like it. Don't really have a ton of traditions, honestly. We always pretty much just go to my grandma's. We never eat turkey on Thanksgiving. I guess
I
that's
don't like turkey.
I do. We bought a turkey
Overrated.
this year. I think
Thanksgiving turkey's overrated.
yes and no.
Nope. They're overrated.
There's not a better leftover than Thanksgiving leftovers.
I think anytime I've ever had a Thanksgiving turkey, it has been an underseasoned, bland piece of meat that the only way that it tastes really good is if you put a fuckload of gravy on it.
Fair. I'm
It is
smoking
just like-
mine, so
Smoked turkeys are pretty good. I will give you that. And I've never had a fried turkey, which shocks some people,
I have.
maybe.
Fried turkey fucking hits.
And I've heard fried turkey's really good, but I've never had it. But baked fucking giant, dry, flavorless turkey is not exciting. It's overrated.
Yeah. So we never do turkey. We always do ham. So it's not like it's like a brown sugar glazed ham that that my grandma always makes. That's really the only like tradition that we have. Like
Okay.
besides that, it's just like watch football, drink beer.
Yeah.
Like when we were younger and like our parents were all younger and everybody was young, like we'd maybe play like a football game. There were a couple years where like we hosted Thanksgiving at our house, and instead of going outside to play football, we'd play Madden. So we'd play like a Madden tournament within the family.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But besides that, I mean, that's really it. Like it's just it's a relaxing holiday, right? Like it's that's how most
is.
people treat it. And then 5 years ago, I would have told you after Thanksgiving dinner, get a nice little nap in, and then you just go start getting in line to Black Friday shop for
Friday,
the shit
yeah.
that opens at midnight. But I don't do that anymore. I buy my shit online 2 weeks prior. I've already done most of my Christmas shopping. So
There's probably some pretty good studies on how most people do that now, I think.
oh yeah, I mean that's why like Walmart's like, oh yeah, we're not opening
Yeah.
on Thanksgiving Day anymore, or
Yep.
non Black Friday at midnight anymore. It's like, yeah, nobody could fucking comes in anymore. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
But yeah, and then this year for Thanksgiving, I think it's pretty much the same. I think we're going to my grandma's for like the first part of the day. Once we come back home, we're doing I think like a dinner with Jess's family. But I think that's pretty much it.
I grew up with like The more I think about it too, like the older I get, the more I look back on this. I think my family is just like a bunch of isolationists that hate tradition. Like my family does not want to. Did you, Uncle Kyle said he got a great deal on his monitor from Walmart.
did.
I'm assuming that's online, and I bet you probably did. Black Friday does have good deals. You just have to find them, right?
I'll pull up the specs of it, and then we can briefly
We can talk about
discuss.
that really quick because we don't have a ton of time. But anyway, assuming we still need to get your other topic in, that is. Anyway, so my family doesn't do much. I think my family hates each other and just doesn't want to say it out loud. And I say that like half jokingly, but half serious. Because like my family gets together, everybody gets in the same room. And when I say everybody, I mean very few people because I have a small family. There's like 10 of us. People will hop in the same room and then do whatever it is that's expected for that holiday as quickly as fucking possible and leave.
Yeah.
So like Christmas, everybody shows up, opens the fucking presents, eats the quick little like finger foods, and then gets the fuck out. Nobody wants to stay and hang around. Same thing with Thanksgiving. That being said, when I was younger, everybody did get together. We had the big table. Everybody would sit around, pass the fucking food, eat the food. And then like you said, it was just a relaxing holiday. And then we always did the Black Friday shopping.
Yeah.
That's a thing of the past. I haven't done that in years. But now I'm thankful for my aunt for facilitating this new tradition because it's been going pretty strong for the last, I don't know, quite a few years now with Carly and I. And that is that I spend every Thanksgiving in Dallas. And it is a perk of this tradition that I appreciate, but it could go away and I would still probably like go to Dallas and spend time with my aunt because I like to be out there. But we always go to the Cowboys game on Thanksgiving.
Nice.
Which is like the coolest shit in the world. Like I said, AT&T Stadium has a great atmosphere. And I'm so fortunate to have gone to a Kings game and then get to go to a Dallas game within 2 weeks. It's pretty cool. Yeah. I feel thankful, if you will, this year. But that is our tradition now. We go to Dallas. We, like you, do not do turkey, but we don't do ham either. My uncle almost always does a smoked brisket, which is so fucking good.
I bought a chest freezer just so I could store brisket in there so I could smoke one.
We specifically told him this year like not to worry about it because we're making a pretty short trip out of this. We're gonna hop over there, eat or do whatever they want. We could even just go to a restaurant. I don't give a fuck for Thanksgiving and then hop over to the game and then we're gonna come back home. So it's gonna be a quick little trip this year. But that being said, we do love getting to go out there, see them, hang out, relax, and then go to the Dallas game, which is a pretty awesome tradition.
I like
We
it.
had to miss out on it a couple years because of COVID, so fuck COVID. So we're rolling back into it this year. And I'm pretty excited about it.
Uncle Kyle says he's happy that his kid will be able to see his side of his extended family, which is very true. It'll be my first time meeting him, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
He's going to my grandma's house for that. His monitor, by the way, 32-inch QHD, which is 1440 for those who aren't aware. 165 hertz monitor for only $200. $50 less than you can find that exact monitor at any other store per honey. So
That is the same specs that I have. I don't
Same.
know what he has, but
mine's curved. I think I'm the unique one there.
mine's not curved, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm the unique one there on the curved monitor side of things, but that is his. But yeah, Thanksgiving is a very chill holiday. I like it being a chill holiday. I've always enjoyed Friendsgiving a little bit more though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Get your friends together for one. One of our friends, Alina, she used to always do a Friendsgiving, but the only rule of Friendsgiving was that you couldn't bring food that was like for the holiday.
Oh, thank God.
So like
great way
people,
to do it.
one of our friends would legit go buy like 10 large fries from McDonald's.
Hell yeah.
And that was what he would bring. And
That's
so
dope.
that was sick because it was always like a nice change of pace for that. But
Friendsgivings and like white elephant Christmas gift exchanges or whatever with like your friends on Christmas are like one of the best ways to do it.
100%.
We hosted it once when we were in Florida, and I wish we could have done it in Tucson, and it just never materialized. So once like we get our roots settled in here, we'll probably have to start doing that out here because it is a lot of fun to do it that way.
Yeah. It's sick.
Yeah,
So much better.
my family sucks at tradition is the bottom line.
Yeah. My family doesn't have a lot of traditions either. So
Yeah, pretty
it's
limited.
fine. They're
We
overrated.
tolerate each other.
Traditions are overrated.
All right, Jake. What is your next topic?
What are your thoughts on Elon Musk buying Twitter and how that's all going?
That's a good one. It is. I think he probably recognizes that it was a mistake now. I think he recognized that it was a mistake after he like put his dick on the table and was like, I'm fucking doing this.
Yeah.
And then they were like,
okay.
And he was like, oh,
fuck.
shit, yeah.
And then he was like, I shouldn't pay $1 billion just to not
Well,
buy it.
44 of them.
Well, it was he had an option to spend $1 billion and not actually go through with it.
I didn't know that. Yeah,
And
'cause
then
I thought he had
decided-
signed. Was that a part of the contract he signed?
Yeah,
because he
yeah.
signed a contract early. Like he put it all on the table.
Yeah. Because they were basically like, we don't believe you. Here's our price. And he said, okay.
Yeah, and
Signed
he-
it. And then he was like, fuck.
He was basically told, "Put your money where your mouth is," and he did it. But I think he did that before like all of his like actual investors were committed as well, and like on paper committed. So he ended up sending a shitload of shares of Twitter and like value of Twitter to Saudi Arabia, I believe. Like one of his like largest investors was from there, which is like one of the biggest like quellers of free speech. So it's pretty fucking funny, right? Like he wants to take over the platform and he's like very, very, very pro free speech, but then he sold a shitload of it to fucking Saudi Arabia. So
And then was also like, hey, by the way, if you don't have parody in your account name or
yeah,
we're
the
gonna
whole
ban
thing
you.
is like pay for the blue check mark, right? And it's like
yeah.
it is brilliant to watch how unprepared he was and how like average ass people are taking advantage of it, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
some random fucking dude creates a Twitter account for the folks that like do the mass production of insulin
Yeah, Eli Lilly.
and buys the $8 check mark and goes, insulin is free, and that company tanks, right? Like
the
they lose
way-
$1 billion.
The way that we have seen random fucks on the internet just obliterate stock prices over the past week has been
Yeah.
like Lockheed Martin. Their shares went down like crazy. Eli Lilly was right there. Like
Eli
all
Lilly,
of
that's
these
the one, yeah.
companies just getting fucked by some random guy on Twitter who's like, I'm gonna meme this.
Yeah. That being
also-
said, I hate that he. I think in general, him having bought Twitter is a bad thing for everyone.
Yes.
I think it's not going to do anything for free speech. So if you're an Elon fucking fanboy and you think that that's what's going to happen, it's not, right? Like a lot of the rules of Twitter will not change, and it's actually being maybe potentially more restrictive because anybody that criticizes him as a person is getting their accounts blocked now too, and fired from jobs if they work there. Like you are not
Yeah.
allowed to speak out against him. So I think it has had a net neutral, if not slightly negative effect for free speech. I think advertisers are walking away, so you're losing advertising space. I think there's a chance that the company goes bankrupt, which would be painful for some people, quite a lot of people, especially employees of the company. I think a lot of people lost their jobs because of this, which is not a good thing.
Yeah, he fired 3,700 people and then had to go back and hire X amount of them because he
Yeah.
realized they were actually important to the company.
And I don't know if you saw the article the other day about how like he was like, we're getting rid of all of bloatware in Twitter because we only need like 20% of this software for Twitter to run.
Yeah,
and he
and then
got
it
rid of the
broke shit.
two-factor authentication.
Yep.
And so nobody could log in if you had two-factor.
Anybody with two-factor, if you logged out, you could not log back in. It also broke it. So I have a check mark on Twitter. I had Twitter Blue prior to this happening. So when Twitter Blue became how you got a check mark, I got one. You couldn't change your name on Twitter anymore.
Yep.
So like I was Jake from State Farm with the trademark logo because that's been my name on Twitter the entire time.
Yep.
Thank God people figured out that if you click the edit button enough times, it'll just go through now. So I literally
Yeah.
I stayed there clicking for like 30, 40 times, and now I'm just Jake. Thank God.
Yeah.
I don't have to. I literally had to put in my Twitter bio, not the real Jake from State Farm, because I was like, I don't want to get banned.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just it's been a disaster. And the thing is, like,
it has been a disaster.
if Twitter goes away in the next year or two, which is a very real possibility, it's going to be because he bought it. If Twitter kept operating the same way that it had in the past, yes, they would have kept losing money year over year.
What's the guy's name? The founder of Twitter? I can't remember.
Jack.
Jack
I don't remember
Is
his
it Dorsey? Is that his last
Dorsey.
name?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing an all right job, you know? And he was
Yeah.
happy with it,
Yeah. But
I think.
happy enough. Yeah, $44 billion. I think.
I'm sure he's happy now, yeah.
But yeah, like if Twitter kept being Twitter and Elon never bought it, like it could keep losing money and that's fine. But Elon's way of handling the situation has not been great, to say the least.
Nope.
And I've already seen some rumors that he's looking for like a replacement CEO. Like he's already like,
I don't want to deal with this bullshit.
yeah,
Yeah.
like getting fucking memed to hell and back. Did you see the stuff that went
Yeah.
on? I think it was it Dua Lipa or Doja Cat?
I didn't
They
see
had
that,
their
no.
they changed their name to Christmas. Like they're actually like, so you know you have your handle on Twitter and then you
Yeah.
have like your display name. Their display
Yeah.
name was Christmas. And when the checkmark thing happened, nobody knew that you couldn't change it anymore. You just all of a sudden couldn't change it anymore. So she tweeted at him and was like, "Hey, can you help me? I don't want to be Christmas forever." And then he tweets back and goes, "You should be able to change your name now." And then they changed it, their profile picture, to that picture of him like balding, looking like a fucking dweeb, and they changed their name to like Fart.
It's so dumb, but
Instantly memed him.
I mean, it's just like the epitome of disaster. It really has been really bad.
Yeah.
I think it's bad for the company. It's bad for everybody, and I don't know. I think
yeah.
celebrities shouldn't own social media platforms because they're always going to have an agenda, right? Like it needs to be on like I don't know the right answer, dude. I truly
Yeah.
don't know. Like you look at fucking dipshit at Facebook and like Meta now, and like that. He's just driving that company in the ground too. And it's not like Facebook hasn't been kind of like crumbling, you know, over the years anyway. But like the metaverse concept is just like it's hilarious to watch this meltdown happening too.
Yeah.
Like I didn't realize because I don't give a fuck about the metaverse that like people didn't have legs, maybe still don't. Like your character inside the metaverse is just a torso, like a floating torso, which is hilarious to me. And it's like, and also Apple, I think finally has like decided to step into that game as well because Apple has a VR headset, and I think they're going to make like a VR world like in competition with Meta. And so it's like, I don't know, dude. I think they're going to drive that shit to the ground.
All I know is being a CEO must not be that hard.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think I'd want to do it.
If you can run Twitter, Tesla, SpaceX, and whatever the fuck else he's CEO of, it can't
But-
be that hard of a job.
He might be CEO in name, but I feel like there's some like senior management officials that are actually doing all of the functions of an actual CEO, probably.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know what I mean? Like it's not like he's a hands-on CEO of all those places.
Yeah.
He might
But
pretend to be though.
Regardless, it's been a fucking disaster. It sucks because I
Yep.
love Twitter.
I am neutral about Twitter. I think it's probably what I use the most right now, but that's just because I don't like Facebook, and Instagram isn't the social space that Twitter is.
I know. I'm like, what happens when Twitter, like, what do I do when Twitter goes away? Am I going to have to start posting on TikTok? Like, I might.
I don't know what I do. I might just delete social media at that point.
I can't. I'm addicted. But
I'm really not. I do it because I'm bored, and I could find other things to do when I'm bored.
I'm sure I could, but my ADHD kicks in, and then what used to just be something to make me not bored now makes me
Just
fucking,
become a Redditor.
bro.
I think that might be one of the most toxic communities in the world.
I know.
It might be.
I'm kind of down for it at this point.
I'm a passive viewer of Reddit. I don't post anything.
Me neither. But yeah,
Twitter's overrated. Uncle Kyle says.
Elon buying it sucks. I hope he does find a new CEO. I hope they revert a lot of the changes that have been made. I'd much rather
Yeah,
it be back to what it was 3 months ago because it
Yep.
was fine.
it was fine.
There were
There's
no
nothing wrong
problems
with
with
Twitter.
Twitter. Except for the fact that they were losing money every month. Shut up, Elon. No one gives a fuck.
I mean, yeah, so what? All the money's in advertising, right? And
Yeah.
now he's losing all of that too because he's a fucking idiot.
No, he's not. He's taking money out of his left pocket and putting it in his right pocket by having SpaceX buy a large advertising package from Twitter.
Oh my god. Oh man, yep, that's pretty good. That way he can report fucking positive numbers for the shareholders because it is a publicly traded company, which is a shame for the shareholders right now.
Yeah, it's
All
sorry.
right, Jake, rate your next beer.
This one is I haven't even gotten close to finishing yet because I got to talking, but
Same.
it's very tasty. It's very much a dessert beer. You might even like it though, because I know you like coconut. It's very
I have no problem
coconutty.
with dessert beers. I just don't like IPAs.
Well, this is technically like a sour style, but it's not actually sour. You get a little bit of the sour from the pineapple, but it tastes like
Yeah.
I mean, imagine you were drinking a pina colada in a
Love
beer
pina
form.
colada.
It's very good. This one gets a 4, flat 4.
Okay. I wish people would have more truth in advertising of what their shit tastes like. And specifically with ciders. A cider always tastes like apple.
Yeah.
You can't inject more flavor into that and be very successful.
I'm
This
gonna-
tastes like an Angry Orchard.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
It's fine, right? It sure as shit doesn't taste like an orange dreamsicle. I can fucking promise you that. Which is why false advertising. You get a 1.5.
That's fair.
It's not good. It's fine. It just tastes like an apple cider.
Well, there's nothing wrong with a good apple cider every now and again. I just bought a gallon of it. I'm going to make some spike cider this weekend.
That'll
It's
be
going to be a good time.
Yeah, why not? All right, everybody, thanks for joining us. This has been another episode of Two Average Husbands. Jake is on Twitter, as we just bitched about, at Perry_FF. I am still on Twitter at Kyle and Herson. You can find us on our Two Average Husbands page account, whatever you want to call it, at number 2 AVG Husbands on Instagram and Twitter. You can find us streaming all over the place. And then you can, if you don't feel like watching live on YouTube, by the way, if you want to watch live on YouTube, you can also, in addition to that, now watch us live, as we've mentioned a few different times, on Twitter and on Twitch. The comments don't work on Twitter if you want to watch us live. So you can comment live on YouTube or on Twitch, or we are still in the Discord chat if you want to comment and chime in on there, and we will be happy to bring your comments into the discussion. If you have topics or anything like that you'd like us to discuss, please let us know on any of the things that I just mentioned. Other than that, I've talked enough. Jake, close us out.
As always, Kyle covered most of it. If you have anything you want to see us talk about, let us know. If you want to see any additional content from us in any way, shape, or form, like my buddy Ryan, he's got a couple football arguments he wants to bring my way. I'm going to give him these hands, and Kyle's just going to have to moderate and tell me to stop yelling.
Yeah, I can do that.
Hopefully got some video game streams planned coming up here somewhat shortly once we get it all figured out and figure out how to get both of our perspectives in the stream at the same time, if that's even somewhat possible. If not, you'll have to deal with probably my screen, which is probably better for you guys.
No.
Anyways, thank you all for tuning in. We will see you in the next episode. And as always, don't forget to